Hey guys, in this video we're going to do our brutal review for the Traxxas UDR, and it's one of my favorite cars to play with. In this video we're going to show you what you get when you purchase one of these vehicles, and keep in mind we're running this one stock on 6S. Then we're going to take it out and we're going to brutalize it. Then we'll bring it back, get it on the bench, show you what we had to fix and all of those little gadgets. And then we're going to ask our 4 questions. Question 1, was the car fun to play with? Question 2, is the car durable? Question 3, is the car worth the money? And question 4, how does the UDR stack up against the other offerings that are out there? So let's get right to it and we'll make this happen. Okay, so what we have here is our UDR, and it comes with the standard Traxxas radio. Now this is a pretty good radio. I've had no issues with it. It's pretty simple to operate, and you know, it's self-explanatory when you go to play with it. The trigger got a good spring tension to it. The steering wheel, it's got a good feel to it. It feels awesome in the hand. It's easy to maneuver with, and I have no complaints. As far as the car goes, let's have a look at the vehicle. Now the UDR is kind of cool in the way that it comes as a regular race car is built. It's not like your standard, say, Arrma or some of the other Traxxas offerings. This is a scale representation of the real car. The suspension travels really nicely, everything works really well, and you know, it's a pretty good car to play with. I've really enjoyed this. On the underside here, your battery tray is right here, and you flip this switch and pull out, and the battery box opens just like that. Now, I've gone to the trouble to change over my connectors to the EC5 connectors because those are the batteries that we use here. Other than that, this is unchanged. The batteries simply drop into the slot, and it'll hold stacked 3S batteries to give you a total of 6S. I run 6S batteries already, so I don't have to do the stacking, so I do have the loop connector in line. Aside from that, in order to get into the internals on this car, there's a number of screws you have to take off, and this just gets you into the drivetrain. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 screws. Pull those out. This plate comes off and out, and you have your transmission, you have your motor sitting right here, and if you have a look right here, I'll see if I can get you a good picture of that. Right there, motor sticks out right there. So it's not really difficult to get at. It's pretty easy to work on as far as the drivetrain goes, but I do have a little bit of a disappointment on this. In order to get the body off, there's another 12 screws. You have to pull screws throughout the exterior of the body, and this one came with lights. So to get the body off is a little bit of a puzzle, but it can be done. So once you get the back loose, you shift it over here at the front bumper. So you have to slide it in past the lights to get it to clear the bumper on one side, then slide it off, and it does remove just fine. The suspension is so smooth on this car that this is the one I use for my camera car most of the time. I have underneath the body, I have a mount made of carbon fiber with a GoPro mount right here. So if I want to do chase footage, or I can loop it over, and I have another mount for the tail. If I want to follow this car, this one runs smooth enough to where even a session camera, which has 0 stabilization, is still watchable. So as far as that goes, it's really nice. It does have, if you can see in there, it's got twin shocks all the way around, and it's really stable. However, as with all of these cars, it does tend to pitch and roll in the corners. Okay, so let's get it outside and show you what it's capable of. But before we get out there, there's a couple more items you should know that come in the box. Now, we went over the car and the radio, and I know I didn't do an in-depth thing, but there's other channels out there that do that. But what comes in the box is you get your warranty information, get the warranty card, fill that out, send it in. You get a tool kit, and that has the tools you'll need to get into the body and work on the car. It comes with a quick start guide, and this tells you how to operate the speed control, the radio, what you have to do to get the car up and running. And then of course, they've done something quite interesting. This little piece right here tells you how to vent the tires. Now they know about this at Traxxas, but they're just not doing it from the factory. The UDR comes pre-vented and sealed so that you don't have to worry about this. The UDR, on the other hand, it leaves it up to the operator to go ahead and vent the tires on their car. It's a pretty simple procedure, and when we do our thing at the end here, we'll go over how that's done. Also, it comes with the manual, and inside the manual you'll find all of the things you'll need for part numbers. You'll find everything you'll need for how to take the vehicle apart and how to put it back together. So now that we got that covered, let's go run this thing. Okay guys, now we're going to take you back a little farther and we're going to show you some footage of what we've done with this car in the past from the day we got it to today. So we've showed you what we did on our run. Now we're going to show you what we've done in the past and then we'll give you the review. Oh, yeah. Yes! Coming in hot.
Dancing.
Okay guys, so we're back from all of our running and goofing off and having a good time, and now it's time to go over what broke in the car. Now, we had one failing inside of the car, and what happened was the screws that go to the motor mount came loose. Now, this wasn't from any particular impact. The car just started driving funny and it was making some noises, so I tore it apart. Have a look at this.
So that's that.
And not only that, but we had a problem with the hubs. The discs for the hubs, you know, these are initially made out of plastic and they're not all that durable. You think about it, you're driving the size of a tire and you're driving it on a tiny little area where there's a pin in a piece of plastic, and it doesn't take much to hog that piece of plastic out and make it useless. So we did the upgrade and we turned those to aluminum. Check this out. Okay, so we got to get the wheel off of here, and we're going to show you what we'll be replacing. Okay, so this is the hub right here, and these are made of plastic. They have a small problem in there as all the power through this pin is transferred to this plastic, and the plastic in a lot of cases just isn't strong enough. Now, this one has a caliper on it, and there's a little bolt right back here that we have to remove to get the caliper off first. So let's get that off. Now this is kind of a restricted area, so I'm going to use a small tool like this to get in on that, and then a wrench to break it loose. There we go. And now we'll just spin it out. Like so. And that should come right out. There we go. There's the screw. That holds the caliper on. Now this should slide off. There we go. And caliper comes loose. That little screw went right through there. So that's a good thing. That's intact. These slide right off. And this one is intact. This one's still in good shape. I have lost these before, so this is one of the fortunate ones. However, the standard Traxxas replacements are identical. So this is from Traxxas, and it's a direct replacement. This is not expensive. These are a little more expensive, but these won't fail the way these will. So the idea is to replace this. Now, put the caliper back on. Make sure you align this slot right here up with the drive pin right there that goes through. Fit it into the slot. Come on now. And there we go. Simply put the screw back in. Like so. Good. Now, let's put the wheel back on and install the lug nut. There we go. And you can see the aluminum piece in there now. It looks real nice and it's solid. It will hold up to the torque that the car puts out. Also, we had to go ahead and vent all the tires. Now, I did it to the main car to begin with, so that wasn't something I had to deal with. This is something that's very important, and I recommend doing this before you ever take the car out. But if you haven't done it before, check this out. Okay, so now we're going to do the tire venting, and we're going to use one of the spares off of the back. First, we'll remove it. There we go. And there's the screw that holds it on. Nice flathead screw. And there we go. And it is a fully functioning, fully glued tire. And if you look inside here, right, here we go. Right here, there's a vent hole. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's a vent hole there, and on the opposite side, there's a vent hole there. And what we're going to do is we're going to tape those over. So let's move the car out of the way, and we'll show you how that's done. Okay, so we're going to take, and I've already trimmed out a couple of small pieces of black tape, and it's just your average black tape here that works. Does the job just fine. So we're going to find our spots here, and you'll see there's one of the vent holes right there. So place the tape over the vent hole and simply seal it in. Like so. And now the inside of the wheel is sealed all the way around, which means when the tire's spinning, it can't force any debris down into the tire from the inside. Now we need to address the outside of the tire. And in order to do that, what we're going to need is a specialty tool. And it's one that I find indispensable when you're doing this kind of thing. And it is a rotary tool. Now, this rotary tool has a deburring bit on it, and it's a small 1/8" style bit. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to make 3 even holes, but we need to be right on this seam here. So this is where everything is thrown to when the tire expands, it comes to the center. So we want 3 even spaces, and we're going to put a hole here, we'll put a hole there, and we'll put a hole there. and that makes a nice round hole so that the debris can escape. So let's do the next one. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to want one about here. Same deal, nice and careful. And there's the second hole. Now one more to even it out. 1, 2, 3, right here. And now, as you see, there's a vent hole here. There's a vent hole right here. And there's a vent hole right there. 1, 2, 3. That will definitely help. It'll discharge any debris from inside the tire that may get in there, including water, dirt, anything that can get inside the tire. As it spins, centrifugal action will throw everything to the outside and eject it from the tire. Kind of a self-cleaning mechanism when you think about it. So there you have it. That's all of the things that we had to do to the vehicle. Other than that, it is unscathed. And the important part to remember is, of all of the rolling, all of the tumbling, all of the crashing that we did, of course, you know, you're running at high speeds and nothing works perfectly. But take a look at the interior. I broke absolutely nothing on the front or the back. And I've heard people having problems with breaking these links. But with the amount of power that I put into this car, the amount of torture that I put this car through, and none of it broke. That's impressive. So that leads us to 4 questions. So question number 1, was this car fun to play with? And I would have to say absolutely yes. This car is an absolute blast to play with. When it hooks in a corner, it looks so realistic as the rear end crouches and it comes around nice and smooth. It's absolutely a blast. Will it roll and stuff in the corners? Yes, it will. But that's the way the real cars handle. You have to drive it a little more respectfully, and you have to really get after it when the time is right. If you time it wrong, and you've seen what happens, it hooks a tire, it gets out of control, it starts to barrel roll, it cartwheels, and it inevitably lands poorly. So, is it fun to play with? Absolutely. Question number 2, is the car durable? Now, the breakage inside the car, and what I'm talking about here is the motor mount coming loose. It didn't actually break any parts. What it did do, though, is the problem, the motor and the bolts that go to the motor that go through the armature, those came from the factory with no Loctite, and I don't understand why they would do that. You can get the whole mount out, so getting it apart later wouldn't be a problem. So I switched that out and I put some Loctite in it, put it back together and ran it again and had 0 problems. On the wheel end of things, we spun a hub and we caught a little extra traction and we burned out one of those plastic pieces, switched it over to the aluminum ones, and we are good to go. So the durability of the car, overall the suspension, nothing failed. The drivetrain itself, nothing failed. The motor came loose, yes, and the outer hub carrier, not the carrier itself, but just the disc that connects the wheel to the drive axle itself. Those are a rather weak point, and I did do a little looking on YouTube, and others are having the same problem. So I highly recommend upgrading that. Now, question 3 is subjective. If times are tight for you right now, money might be a problem, but for me, is this car worth the money? And unequivocally, yes, this car is worth every penny. You can't get this feel and ride out of just anything else. We've run it with the Mojave, we've run it with the Centon 6S, and all those are fun to play with. Nothing has the realism of this car here. This is one of a kind. It is an absolute blast to play with, and we haven't even geared it up, and it goes as fast as you've seen. So I've never taken the time to go ahead and speed test it, because for me, the speed isn't the thing. It's the look and the handling of the vehicle that makes it worth the money. And question number 4, how did this car stack up to the others in its class? And what I mean by that is the short course trucks. And in my opinion, and of course I know Losie's making a new one, it's got the Ray or whatever they call that one. I haven't got that one yet, so I cannot include it in my ratings here. All I can compare it to are the ones that I've actually run. And I've run all of the other cars that we've listed here, and this is by far the king of the heap. This is the best short course truck I personally have ever run. It stacks up right at the top of the pile. So for durability, I'd give it 8 out of 10. That's pretty good for durability. For cost, I'd give it 7 out of 10 because it is rather expensive. But overall, how does the car stack up? I'm going to give this one 9 out of 10. Hey guys, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, smash the bell, hit the like, and share. It means more to us than you could possibly know, and I appreciate you making it all the way to the end. I know these videos can be kind of long, but you know, to understand the car, you can't do it in 10 minutes. You have to get in and show people what's involved. I'm AJ with AJJAMStudios saying, keep wrenching, guys.